Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here from Miss Carrie's Creations. This month, the creative design team is showing you ways to make Christmas tags, and this coffee lover has a 12 days of coffee project for you. I can't wait to show you how to make it. Two of the items I'll be using today are the buildable tags and the 6x6 holiday stack. Now, these holiday stack papers are scaled down versions of our past retired holiday papers. You could use just about any Christmas pattern in your collection for this project. Now, these buildable tags are really fun to use. I'm going to show you some great ways to use all of the parts and pieces in this little buildable tag set. All right, so before we start creating the tags, I want to give you a few tips and tricks for when you start cutting out all of your items. When we start creating the tags, I will show you what you need to cut out for each individual tag. But before we do that, I just want to give you a few hints for cutting out these tag shapes. Now, you can cut out each tag shape individually, creating your little sandwich with your die in your die cutting machine. But I did discover that these dies will cut through 3 layers of paper. So since we are cutting 3 of each of the designs, you could actually stack up all of your pattern paper and cut out all of your tags really quickly. We are going to be creating some little pockets for the back of the tags using this larger die. Now, if you take a look at the 6x6 papers, it looks like you won't be able to get 2 cuts on your paper. But if you lay your dies down just like this, running them through individually, you will be able to get 2 pockets from each of those 6x6 papers. All right, before we start assembling the tags, we are going to shade a few coffee cup images. These are going to be shaded with alcohol markers, so I've gone ahead and stamped them with intense black ink. If you wish to skip this portion of the video, I have put a little timestamp there, so you can go ahead and skip to the tag assembly. With each one of these coffee cup images, I'm going to be shading the cream or the foam with ice gray. We're going to need to shade this first because we will be using the blending marker to soften that ice gray line. The blending marker pushes the shade and causes it to bleed or blend or soften. If we have any other color next to that cream or foam, that blending marker might pick up the color, causing an unwanted bleed into the foam. Each of these coffee cups are going to be shaded in the same manner. I'm going to start with a light color in the center and fade to a deep, darker color on the edges, with the hopes of making these cups look like they are cylindrical. On this cup, I am using Alpine Green to create that bright green Christmas color. Now, you might have noticed that I have sped up this part of the video quite a bit. I like to take my time when I'm shading images, and I didn't want you to have to watch this in real time. I do have other videos where I have slowed down the process of coloring images that you are welcome to view. After I added the Alpine Green, I came in with the dark red shades and I shaded in the little circle and some of the stripes on the straw to make it look like a little candy cane. Then I added a little bit of shading to the base of the cup just to emphasize those little grooves. And then I added a bit of coral to the heart, and this is going to match some of the papers that I chose for the tag that this cup will be placed upon. On a lot of my images, I like to add highlights with a white gel pen, and I've gone ahead and done that here on this cup, and as you can see, it turned out really cute. All right, we're going to move on to the next cup really quickly. Again, you are welcome to skip ahead if you don't wish to watch all of the coloring process. On this cup, I am starting once again with the foam, and I'm just going to add that ice gray and then use the blending tool to blend it. The cup itself is going to be shaded with dark red. And I'm going to start out with the dark red blends and create kind of a softer tone of reds. And after I did all of the shading with those colors, I decided that I really wanted to deepen it and create even more depth around the edges. So I came in with the dark red shades and added all of the shadows that I needed. I created a little candy cane stripe with the alpine green on the two little swizzle sticks sticking out of the cream, and then I used some golden yellow to color in the sprinkles. All right, let's go ahead and quickly move on to the third little coffee cup here. On this cup, I was trying to create an avocado green color. So I started out with citrus green, and it really was not quite working for me. So I decided to bring in a dull green and blend it in with the citrus green colors. And this ended up giving me that avocado color that I was looking for that coffee cup. Now you might have noticed that this cup has a little pumpkin, which doesn't really work for Christmas. So I grabbed a little scrap piece of paper and I'm just going to cut out a little poinsettia from that pattern, and we're going to be placing that on top of the pumpkin. You could also use a sticker if you have one in your stash. This final coffee cup is going to be shaded with a deep charcoal gray. I did this recently on one of my fall cards, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the finished coffee cup. If you'd like to watch how I shaded that image, I'll put a link to the video up above. The sprinkles on this coffee are a bright alpine green, and then I went ahead and used my red shades and red blends to color in the poinsettia. Now, if you felt like this went a little too fast, I am going to be creating some reels showing just the portion of this video where I shade each of the images at a little bit slower pace. All right, let's start assembling the tags. I've gone ahead and cut out everything that I'm going to need for the tags using this buildable tag thin cut set. Now I am going to show you what you're going to need for each of the tags. We're going to start out with this first tag. You are going to need a red pattern paper pocket and two of the rounded tags. I've cut one out of a polka dot pattern and one out of a green pattern. You're also going to need two red pattern hole reinforcements cut using the little button die there, a little 1/4 inch piece of green pattern paper, and some white glitter paper snowflakes. You're also going to need your coffee cup die cuts here. I'm showing you 2, but I did make 3 so that I could have 3 of each tag. Now, before you pause and start cutting things out, let me show you one more thing that we're going to need to cut. We are going to create this little frame in the center of the green tag. I'm just going to go ahead and center that little frame thin cut onto my green tag. I'm going to hold it in place with some Post-it tape, and then I'm going to go off camera and cut this out. Now, once you have finished cutting out that little centerpiece, don't throw it away. We are actually going to use it on another tag, okay? All right, go ahead and hit pause, cut out everything you need, and then I'll show you how to put this tag together. We're going to start by gluing that frame onto the polka dot tag background so that that little polka dot pattern shows through. I'm also going to be using liquid adhesive to adhere the 2 hole reinforcements in place. On these tags, I'm using a lot of liquid adhesive because they are going to be pulled in and out of a box, and I would hate for anything to come loose. I'm gluing 1 reinforcement onto the front and 1 onto the back. The pockets are really easy to put together. We are going to put a pocket on the back of each of these little advent tags, and you can go ahead and stick a little gift card or candy bar or anything you'd like coffee related into the little tag pocket. When this die cuts out the pocket, it also adds the score lines. We are going to fold each of those tabs towards the back of the pocket. Now I discovered that it was best to have the bottom tab fold up over the top of the two side tabs. By having that tab be towards the back, you're going to prevent your gift card from getting stuck against that little back tab when you slide it into the pocket. When you apply the glue, make sure you don't add too much. We don't want any of it seeping out, causing the pocket portion to stick to the tag. That 1/4 inch pattern strip is going to be a decorative trim for the top of the pocket. We're just going to glue it in place and then trim off the excess. Be careful that you don't cut any of the pocket when you're trimming this trim. On the back of the tag, we're going to add a small little glitter snowflake, and then we're going to add a couple more glitter snowflakes to the front of the tag. These were cut using dies, but you could also cut them out on your Cricut machine. The red coffee mug is going to be popped up on some foam tape and adhere to the lower left-hand corner. If you want, you could add a little shimmer to that cream at the top using a clear shimmer brush. Take a look at how that shines in the light. We have the glittery snowflakes and the glittery whipped cream. This is so much fun. Since this is going to be a little advent box, I'm going to add the numbers onto the tags. These are some foam stickers I have in my collection, but this project is a great way for you to use up some of those random stickers that you just have partial packs of. Now, I really like adding words of affirmation or encouragement to my projects, and these little stickers by Ranger are perfect for this project. I'm just going to add these to the base of the tags, and now we have our first set of tags complete. Let's go ahead and start on the second tag. For this project, we have cut the pocket out of craft paper using that larger die. I have a large square tag cut out of pattern paper and a smaller tag cut out of pattern paper and a couple of glitter snowflakes, some oval hole reinforcers, and our green coffee cup. So this pocket's going to go together just like the first one, and it's going to be adhered onto the back of that patterned paper tag. The hole reinforcers were cut from red patterned paper. I almost didn't add these, but I am going to be threading some twine through the top of my tags, and these are going to prevent the paper tags from tearing. Now, you might be wondering about my color choices for this tag. We have craft, we have peach, we have candy apple, we have that really bright green, and we have a deep green. I took all of my cues from that poinsettia patterned paper that I'm gluing onto the front of the tag. As I looked at that pattern, I realized that all of these colors play really well together. So as I gathered elements for the tag, like the colors for the coffee cup and the little hole reinforcers, I made sure that I was pulling colors from that paper pattern. To balance out all the colors and patterns, I chose to use white glitter snowflakes in the backgrounds and white numbers. I think this helps to balance out the design. Now, like I said, you could mix and match your numbers on these tags by just pulling from all of those leftover letter stickers that you have in your collection. I chose to stick with these white foam letters because I have such bold colors on each one of my tags. I also chose black sticker sentiments, but you could stamp your sentiments if you wanted to. All right, our second tag design is done. Let's go ahead and move on to the third one. For this tag, I have cut 2 green pattern paper tags. Now, the reason that I had to cut 2 was because the back of one of these patterns is a Halloween pattern. So I'm going to be gluing the 2 tags together to hide that bright purple pattern. This poinsettia pattern comes from the center of the first tag we created, so if you can't find it, you might have thrown it away. The pocket for this tag was cut from some black patterned paper, and we're going to be placing a craft heart there in the center. Now this craft heart came from the little craft pocket that we cut out earlier. You're also going to need some peach hole reinforcers, a 1/4-inch piece of red pattern paper, and the other supplies you see here, like the snowflakes and the coffee cup. We're going to start by gluing those two tags together so that we have green on both sides of our tag. And then I'm going to glue down that poinsettia pattern paper onto the center of the tag. The two hole reinforcers were cut from peach pattern paper, and these are going to be glued down at the top of each of the tags on the front and the back. Now, I mentioned that we're going to be putting a heart in the center of this pocket, and you might be wondering how we're going to do that without gluing the pocket shut. Well, we are going to create what I call a paper band-aid. So we're going to take a little scrap piece of paper and place it over the hole on the back side of the pocket, and then we're going to glue that heart in place. Now, these little paper band-aids are a great way for you to be able to decorate your pockets with all of those little heart cutouts and not glue your pocket shut. All we have to do is glue the strip on the back of the pocket where it's going to be hidden, and then we'll insert the heart right there into the cutout. This pocket is going to be assembled and adhere to the back of the tags just like the others. Now, you might have noticed that it is Halloween paper and it has some Halloween colors, but I wanted to try to pull out the Christmas colors from that pocket pattern. So I decided to add a little red pattern strip across the top, and I think it helps it look a lot more Christmassy. I think the snowflake helps too. Now, I was pleasantly surprised that even the Halloween paper in this holiday 6x6 stack worked perfectly for these Christmas tags. Now, this tag has some big, bold patterns, so I'm going to add a big, bold snowflake onto the front. And then over the top of that snowflake, I am going to layer a smaller snowflake that I've popped up on foam. It was because of those bold patterns that I chose to color this coffee cup in that charcoal shade. I think it pairs well with all of the bright colors. I am going to go off camera and add the numbers and the sentiments, and then we're going to create our fourth and final tag. So this is going to be our little window tag. The background for this tag are all of those wonderful trees, and they are going to look really pretty through that craft window. The window was cut using the die in that buildable tags set. For this tag, we have that avocado pumpkin cup, a red heart that was left over from this pocket. There's also a small glitter snowflake and two red oval hole reinforcers. Again, we're going to be using that little paper band-aid to glue down the heart onto this fall paper. The back side of this pattern paper is definitely a fall leaf design, but the front of it is a beautiful sage and it goes really well with the other elements on this tag. We're going to start by gluing that window down onto the front of the tag. If you wanted to, you could turn this into a shaker tag and add some acetate and some sequins inside. The pocket is folded, assembled, and glued to the back of the tag, just like all of the other pockets we created. The two hole enforcers were cut out of the same red pattern paper as the heart, and this just adds a little bit of cohesiveness and a pop of color to the tag. Now, if you skipped the coloring portion of the video, you're going to wonder why there is a pumpkin cup on a Christmas tag. During that portion of the video, I took a piece of patterned paper and cut out a little poinsettia. And this little poinsettia is going to cover up our little pumpkin there. So now it looks like we have a green Christmas cup. In the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to add a small little glitter snowflake. And on top of that, I am going to add my foam number stickers. On the back of the tags, I am also going to add those sticker sentiments. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the tags we created today. Aren't these just so stinking adorable? I love this 12 days of coffee concept. You could put a little gift card in there, a small little package of coffee, or even a coffee flavored candy. They all turned out super cute. This is the end of the tag making tutorial, but I couldn't stop there. I wanted to create a little 12 days of coffee box to put all these gifts into. Now, I realize that this video is a little longer than most, and you probably want to see what the other members of the creative design team have made. If you want, you can stop the video now and head over and see what Jema has created, or you could keep watching and learn how to make this adorable little box. So we're going to start out with a 6-inch by 7.5-inch piece of craft cardstock. I'm going to use my paper cutter and a scoring tool to score at 2 inches on all 4 of the sides of this piece of craft paper. I've placed the longer side of the paper up against the top of my paper cutter, and I'm going to cut up to the 2-inch score line and down to the 2-inch score line. And I'm just going to move the paper over and do the same thing on the opposite side. Now I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to fold on all of those score lines. I'm just going to burnish them a little bit because craft paper is a little bit thick, and we're going to start building our box. Since this box is going to hold a little bit of weight, I want to make sure that I use a strong adhesive. You could use a liquid adhesive like this Tombow Mono Glue, or you could use some redline tape or score tape. We're going to apply glue onto those little square tabs, and then we're going to fold them in towards the center and start forming our box. Once your box is built, you can decorate it any way that you want. I'm going to show you how to take a couple of tags and build some decorative ends for the box. So I've already decorated one of my tags, and I also decorated my box with some stamps and some strips of decorative paper. I'm going to show you how to create another one of the little tag ends. So the end tags need to be a little bit sturdier than a single piece of craft paper. So I'm going to be layering 2 tags together. I'm going to be adhering the 2 tags together with an adhesive sheet. So I've already trimmed it down to size, and I've peeled off the backing and placed it there down onto the piece of craft cardstock. And then off camera, I used that die to cut out my tag. Now I just need to peel the adhesive backing off of that tag that I just cut out, and then I'm going to adhere the 2 tag pieces together. And this is going to give me a nice sturdy tag for the front of my box. I already did this with the other tags, so we have a nice good sturdy front and back when we go to create the box. Now I'm just decorating these tags with paper scraps that I have left over from all of those tags that I created. At the base of each of the tags, I just have this torn piece of the tree paper. It kind of looks like a little snow line there at the bottom of the tag. The 2 larger tags are going to have some smaller tags layered on top of them. I'm going to go ahead and apply these onto the large tag using some thin foam tape, just so I have a little bit of dimension on the front of my box. Now, here's another project for all those leftover letter stickers and letter stamps that you have. These stickers came from a Story by Stacy project, and I'm just using them to create the phrase 12 days of coffee. The word coffee is going to be placed down on a paper scrap that I pulled from my stash, just to give it a little bit of variety on the front of this tag. The paper strip is going to be trimmed down, and then I'm going to be placing this word coffee down onto the tag along with that green coffee cup I created and a couple of snowflakes. Now, when I went to put the bow at the top of the tag, I realized that I needed to move the number 12. So I ended up pulling it off the tag. I adhered my bow down using a little glue dot, and then I placed the number 12 right there in the center of the tag. These two tags are going to be adhered onto the ends of the box, kind of like bookends. They're going to help hold up all of those little tag pockets we're going to place inside, which is why they needed to be a little bit stronger than regular craft cardstock so that they didn't topple over when we started placing the tags in the box. Speaking of tags, let's take one more look at all of the items we created today. We have this adorable little box with the tags on the front and on the back and the decorations on the side. Each of these 12 days of coffee tags has a little pocket on the back for a gift card or a little sweet treat or even a little package of coffee. You could even use these for tea if you had a tea-loving friend. But of course, this coffee lover loves the idea of someone paying for 12 days of coffee. Now, this project was super fun to make. I hope that it inspired you and gave you a few new ideas for creating some Christmas tags. Like I said, the creative design team has some wonderful tag projects planned for you this month. If you haven't done so already, head over to Jame's channel and check out what projects she has made for you today. I also want to remind you that you only have a few days left to view our 31 Christmas card videos and get your free Christmas card making guide with all 31 card making projects. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.